Joined here today by the one and only Devin Powell. Made a successful Bellator debut at Bellator 232. Got, of course, the big submission. Thanks so much for joining me, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking. And who's the special guest that's sitting next to you?
This is Phoebe. She's always, if I'm not trained, she's just snuggling. She's a little vocal, but yeah, she's a cool girl.
Yeah, I'm sure for a lot of people watching, they're wondering, what's that weird dog next to you? What's kind of the story behind behind this unique pet?
I've wanted a pig since I was a little kid, um, and I had a really old dog. Well, she really wasn't that old, but she's like 13, and couple a couple weeks before I fought in Calgary, she passed away, and the plan was when she passed away that a pig was going to be the um, next pet on the agenda. It just happened very unexpectedly, but I contacted a place called Orange Grove Farm, and Phoebe was at the house like a couple days later, coming home from Canada.
And so, how is it having a pig as a pet? I assume it's got to be similar to a dog, but it's got to have a few key differences as well.
Yeah, she's similar, but she's got a she's very particular about things she likes. You know, if she's doing something that she wants to do and you tell her to stop, she kind of is more interested in herself than she is what I have to say. So she's a little stubborn. So if you're not a huge like pig lover, it's not like the easiest animal in the world. They are incredibly intelligent, but it's work for sure.
All right, and let's talk about what happened over this weekend. Of course, you made the Bellator debut. Everything goes well. How do you kind of look back at the fight now that you've had a few days to think about it?
Uh, yeah, I liked it. I watched it back. There's always things like I should have done this or that better. But at the end of the day, he's a tough fighter. He was a great wrestler. He's roommates with Frankie Edgar. I think they were captains together. He was a D1 wrestler. So getting taken down by him, no matter how much I want to train to not get taken down, it's something that we kind of just prepared for. We weren't looking to get taken down, but we knew it was definitely a possibility and pretty likely. So I feel like I did pretty good with a few of his attempts, and then ultimately when he was putting that pressure on me is how I caught him. So yeah, overall I'm pretty satisfied. It's good to look back and see things that I still want to work on. If those little things motivate you a lot. So if it was absolutely perfect, it'd be a little harder to be motivated and ready to go right away. But I'm definitely healthy, and a couple things were banged up before the fight, and I rested them a lot before this fight happened, and they're starting to feel better. So yeah.
And obviously, getting the win, it's a great debut, of course. Get things started the right way. Is this how you pictured your debut going? I'm sure you thought about it a lot before getting into the fight.
I mean, I thought I was gonna catch him on my feet, which I guess I kind of did, but I just meant more with like my hands and kicks. But he was really good at closing distance and forcing the clinch and uh, imposing his takedowns. So it's not exactly what I envisioned, but I did strongly believe in my jiu-jitsu. And I thought that if I absolutely couldn't get back up off the ground, that I would eventually catch him. So I kind of caught him on our feet and brought it down to the ground and get the job finished.
And I saw a headline, I believe it was after the fight, saying that if you lost, you would have considered retirement or something like that. What's kind of the story behind that? What was sort of going on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that um, I've always felt like I belonged at the top of the world as far as competition. I believe that I carry myself the right way. I feel like I train right, and I feel like I have the skill sets. But I've had a handful of opportunities that haven't all gone my way. Um, I was able to kind of prove myself on the UFC, stage, and then I got another opportunity here with Bellator. But in my head, really, it was just I own my own gym. I've been running it it'll be 6 years this May. Every time I fight, I have to take time away from all my students. I have to neglect some stuff a little bit to really focus more on myself. Um, so I just really felt like if I couldn't get the job done here, that would kind of be my sort of my sign that it was time just to to sit back and enjoy my life as a head coach and a gym owner and watch everybody else, go and capture the dreams of theirs, and I can help them do that as well. So that was kind of the mentality, I think. It would have been hard hanging him up, but um, I just felt like that might have been the right decision if I couldn't get the victory. And you know, it's the exact opposite of what happened now. So now we kind of just go back and see what's next.
And since you got the victory, did that change your mentality at all? I assume it's got to put you in a more positive place, let you know, like you said, that you're in the right place. Did that change your mentality at all, getting that victory?
Yeah, and it wasn't even just that. It was like I honestly feel it's the best I've felt inside the cage. Whether it's a UFC cage or a Bellator cage or World Series of Fighting, I felt comfortable. I felt good, and I felt in the moment. I can remember in between round 1 and 2 a little bit more than I ever usually do. Um, so yeah, it's everything kind of just everything went well, and I feel like I've said it before. I don't like it sounding like I'm making too much of excuses, but when I first got signed to the UFC, I was only a couple years into having my gym, and I would come in to try and train for a UFC fight, and there'd be nights at my gym where there'd be nobody there, and I'd come in, I'd be home, I'd be at the academy alone, shadow boxing to try and get ready to fight somebody from the lab, which is like one of the biggest MMA gyms in the world, and now the gym is more busy than we've ever been. There's never any days where we don't have anyone in there. We're always packed, and that, and also the fact that I'm training at Joe's every week and getting to sparring with those guys, sparring with Joe, being somebody that can help him prepare for that huge TD Garden fight. And then the following week, I get to go and have all that confidence going my way. It's just everything's as good as it could possibly be for this last run, So I'm very happy with where we're at right now. This fight compared to my last fight, it's just night and day how everything went. I signed the contract for my fight previous to this, like 4 days after my whole gym had flooded. We destroyed, and all the mats in the main room and wall pads were all completely destroyed. So it was just such a better place to be in when I got this fight, and I think it showed,
For sure. And let's talk about the win, because you did get the technical submission. He was out for a few seconds. Did you feel him go out, or is that something you realized once the referee kind of pulled you off of him?
No, I honestly didn't know. I was just squeezing for dear life. That was the only job I had. I knew I had short time, so my goal was to make it such a tight choke that I could get him to have to be forced to tap, which I mean he was, because it was either tap or have what happened happen. He just went out cold. That's what I would have done too. It's really hard to tap sometimes, when you're, especially if it's short time. The last thing we want to do is to give up, and my hat's off to him for choosing to go out rather than tap, because he was trying to make it to that bell. His body failed him before his mind did.
And so the fight, the finish, I should say, it did kind of go viral on social media. We saw a lot of videos of it a little bit everywhere, of him trying to single leg the ref. Did you see that when you got up off him? Did you see it happen, or is that something that you kind of realized a little bit later?
Oh no, I saw it. If you watch it, it was like it was a little funny. Not the fact that he had done that, but my response to it. The bell went off, and I let go, and I saw his arm kind of up in the air, and then I pretty quietly but directly to Kevin, the ref, I was like, he's out, and then like he went and grabbed his leg, and then I was a lot louder. I was like, he's out, and then I got up and I ran off with my hands up to celebrate. But the first time I said it, I was like, he's out, kind of almost like a little confused and like surprised that it was true. And then like him grappling with the ref was the confirmation, and that's where the excitement kind of came in. So yeah.
Well, what are you thinking when you see him grab the ref and we see the ref who's got that great takedown defense? Are you thinking I have to peel this guy off the ref now? Like he peeled him off of me, or are you just thinking, you know what, that's not my problem. I just won this fight.
Yeah, his corners were already in there to kind of help out, and um, I immediately went into kind of celebration mode. I put everything, like I said, into that squeeze, um, and when I let go, in my head, I was just like, "Oh, it sucks." Now I got like, all right, I got 1 minute. I got to try and a lot. You burn your arms out pretty good, even in a 10-second squeeze where you're putting everything into it. So I was like, a little me was frustrated the second I let go, and knowing that I had to go recover and try and come back out and perform for 5 more minutes. So the second it was, I realized it was over, I was elated, and it was a nice. I don't want to say stress relief, but it was like it was definitely pretty sweet.
And so, what's next for you at this point with Bellator? I mean, are you trying to fight again before the end of the year? I mean, what's kind of your plan right now?
The plan right now really is just continue. It's always get better, but it's continue to kind of like help my fighters. We have somebody fighting for a title for New England Fights. His name's Zach Richard. He's a good up and coming prospect. We have some other guys fighting. I'm always at the gym 6 days a week. I run the gym, so it's kind of a obvious statement, but I'm always there. I'm still going to be at Joe's. A few things that are bothering me, I want to just kind of take it a little bit easier as far as the hard live training, just for a bit. Rest my brain. I don't spar hard unless I'm getting ready for a fight. So I like having a handful of weeks off from sparring and just doing technical work with guys that are talented enough that I know I can do that safely with. And then it's just see what they have to offer. Out of every single video that that was posted from that night, mine has an incredibly large amount of views in comparison on different platforms. It's over 10 million views throughout all like the platforms that it's been posted on. So I think that I brought a lot of eyes to the Bellator cage that night. Somebody walked away with $1 million that night, and but I was the one that everybody had their eyes on.
Right.
So I'm really just saying all that just because I'm hoping that means they want to bring me back, and hopefully they'll give me a decent decent paycheck to help take care of my family. So you never know what they're really looking for, but they might have been hoping that I was going to lose because I was a guy coming over from the UFC to fight a guy who had fought for them 3 times already with a winning record with Bellator. So I respected my opponent. I was I made weight. I never complained about anything. I sold 150 tickets from 3 hours away from my house. So I think I did everything right to try and be a businessman. Showed up on time to everywhere I had to be, and I presented myself as a professional. So yeah, I think I was doing all the right things to try and line up something good in the future.
And so, when you're saying that, does that mean you're no longer under contract with Bellator? Was this just like a one-fight deal?
Yeah, as far as I know, my Tyson, my manager Tyson from Top Game Management, he's a brilliant manager, and he'll know exactly what the smartest approach from here on out is. I mean, what I told Tyson before this fight was that I wanted to hit the hat trick, and I just did that. I got a win inside World Series of Fighting's cage. I got a win inside the Octagon, and I got a win inside Bellator's cage. But if I want to go from here and maybe try to fight for like Risen or 1FC, if they would even consider me, like that stuff, it's really what motivates me enough to get through a fight camp. If Bellator wants to offer me decent money and give me another fight, I would absolutely love it. It was a pleasure fighting for them. But there's nothing set in stone. There's nothing that I would rule out as far as like big fights. So yeah, I'm just kind of back to training and seeing how the cards play out. Hopefully something exciting is in the near future. It'd be great to fight, not immediately, but relatively soon. I would love to be able to come home from Thanksgiving and put in put in a camp and then fight. Maybe not before the end of the year, but maybe the very beginning of the year. Just because November, it's the end of November when I'm back from my big family get together in Allagash, Maine, where we all go and we all eat a lot of good food and venison and moose, and I want to have some pumpkin pie. So the weight cut's never easy, but I always do it. So I don't want to have to not enjoy Thanksgiving because that's my favorite time of the year. So yeah.
All right, well, thanks so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it. It was good to see you go out there and get the victory in Bellator and get all those eyeballs on you, man. So we look forward to seeing what's next for you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You have a great day.